She's all the moons over Miami are getting fucking cold. Okay.
A lot's happened since yesterday!
Freaks, metalheads, hard rock lovers, and just all around rebels. What the fuck is up? Welcome to another edition of A Lot's Happened Since Yesterday. My name is Ralph Busso.
And my name is Cody Walker. My friends, today we have a very special guest. We have performing artist, dancer, gothic lover, metal lover, all around crazy chick, and part of the A Lot's Happened Since Yesterday family. Please welcome our good friend, Miss Sherise Sixx. Sherise, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. How about you guys?
We're doing excellent. I got to start off with this because we were having a discussion with our good friend David Sixx, who you are married to. And for that, I am saying yay and kind of I'm sorry. I don't know how you do it, dude. I love you, but but no, we were having a conversation with David the other day, and you walked by and said hi, and then your response afterwards was, "Okay, guys, I'm gonna go back looking for Hawaiian fire music." And I was like, okay, we got to start there because I have no idea what the hell that means. So let's get started with Sherise. Why don't you tell our fans what you do first, but then let's get into Hawaiian fire music first because I'm confused as shit.
Okay, well, what I do primarily is I am a metal fusion belly dancer. I use a lot of props, including fire, swords, daggers, whatever. If it's dangerous, I love it. I do a lot of gothic fusion, a lot of metal fusion. I love working with metal bands and visualizing their music, creating an visual story for it. I make crazy costumes.
Now, costumes for like performing costumes or like do you cosplay?
Either one.
Okay.
It depends on what your purpose is. I can make anything from stage gear for rockers to belly dance clothing to cosplay, fantasy, headpieces, whatever.
That's interesting. How'd you get into that?
Well, I grew up a little differently than a lot of people. My grandmother was a performer. She did variety shows, vaudeville, what have you, and she was a singer. So from a very early age, I was thrown on stage. I've been on stage performing since I was about 2. But so being in that atmosphere, I was around performers my whole life. And of all different, it was a variety show. We had belly dancers, we had jazz dancers, we had banjo players, we had roller skating acts, we had everything, hula, Polynesian. So my grandma made a lot of our costumes and tacky outfits for holidays and such. So I learned how to make stuff through her. And also we were very poor. So we made it. If you wanted something, you made it.
What's your background? I mean, what do you know what your like? Everybody goes to these sites now that they're looking to find out what their,
our heritage
is. Yeah. And they want to know exactly where their tribe came from, so to speak. Where does your tribe come from?
Funny thing about those DNA tests, all my life, you're French and Norwegian. You're French and Norwegian. You're French and Norwegian. After having a DNA test and a couple other family members having a DNA test, yeah, I'm still French, and yeah, I still have a little bit of Norwegian, but I'm Romanian.
Really?
Yeah.
Like majorly Romanian over anything?
No.
Oh.
I'm still primarily the French and Norwegian, but there's a big chunk of my family that came from Romania by way of Pakistan.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I don't know.
Well, that's interesting.
But I'm a stranger mutt than I thought. But I'm really curious, you know, I'm still going down that rabbit hole just to, you know, because it's really curious to see where the DNA traveled from, you know, because you know your family tells you, oh yeah, your great grandma was married to this man and they had 5 children. Well, did grandma cheat on grandpa at any point? We don't know. DNA tells.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
I didn't either until I had the DNA test and found out that is exactly what happened.
Well, I can definitely see the Norwegian, the Romanian for sure, and the French. To be honest with you, I think you nailed it because I can see all of those traits. You know what I mean? And just by looking at you, I can see that that's probably where your heritage comes from. Norwegian, do you know anything about the Norwegians at all?
Actually, that's been a strong heritage point in my family on my mother's side. Um, my great grandfather came here from Norway. His name was Christian Christensen.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very.
That's a
very
Norwegian name for sure.
Yeah, and then in the same family, there's the last name of Bjerke, and it turns out that there is a suburb in Oslo, Norway, called Bjerke, named after my family.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's kind of interesting too. It turns out that I'm not by blood related to the Bjerke because of the DNA thing, but it's you know, it's still part of my family. I have, you know, half of my family is related to the Bjerkes. It's just strange. The whole DNA thing, it's like, you know,
Well,
have those
do you
tests and
do you find it strange, or do you find it insightful that some of these DNA tests lead towards things that you're interested in? Like, for instance, you mentioned Norwegian. The metal scene seems to be a huge factor there. So, I mean, that would tie you in, right? The French,
of course.
once again, they are, you know what I mean? I would imagine that they're into something outside of the American pop culture. So they're probably down with the Gothic culture. That makes sense to me.
Very much so. There's a huge vampire population.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does.
Yeah.
So that European heritage for you is a big factor in the fact that you're very much into the Gothic culture and the heavy metal culture. Now, are you into the occult as well?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on that? Where do you stand? What do you consider yourself like spiritually? Do you consider yourself Wiccan or somewhere in that area, or are you somewhere else?
Probably somewhere in the area of Wicca. I'm very organized religion of any kind is not for me. I'm very much a solitary and individualist, and if I had to put a label, I would say I'm a solitary witch. I'm a pagan. I do believe in a higher power, et cetera, et cetera. But as far as the occult, there's so many different avenues you could delve into that, you know, it's not as strange as people think, you know. I mean, it's part of everyday life. People die, energies stick around, weird shit happens.
What's the biggest draw for you, though? Honestly, I mean, in all honesty and sincerity, in its purest form, you and I are having a conversation. We just met, and I noticed that because you obviously I know about the Gothic culture, so I'm looking at you and thinking, wow, she's got to be interested in the Gothic culture. So I asked you, are you into the Gothic? What is your belief system? What, you know what I mean? What are you all about? How would you answer that question?
That's a tough one.
I mean, if you were going to be really honest, and I got to ask, what drew you to paganism and the Gothic culture? I mean, what took you away from, because let's face it, I think Christianity is pretty average. You know what I mean? Most people probably follow it for the most part. I mean, I know there's a lot of other religious cultures out there. My wife is a Buddhist, so I mean, it can be all over the place, and there's so many different sects and so many different denominations within the Christian organization. So it's a huge question. But what drew you away from that, which I think is a pretty popular concept?
Well, I was blessed in the fact that my grandparents raised me. And although my grandma had her very specific religious views, she wanted me to have all the knowledge to make my own decision. So as a young girl, my grandma would drop me off at this Sunday school, another week at that Sunday school. So I got the opportunity to go to many different denomination churches and see what they were about from the Sunday school aspect, which is, in my opinion, more of the core of what they're trying to teach. And I was able to see what they were all about and kind of make my own decisions. And at a very young age, I'd say probably 8, 9, 10 years old, I became very nature bound, and I believed that conventional religion, I believe, was, how do I put it without offending, a cheap illusion to hold on to, instead of delving into the mysteries further to find the truth. It's kind of, I don't want to offend anybody.
That's interesting, actually.
No, if anybody gets offended by listening to your opinion, quite frankly, fuck you. I mean, we're here to talk to you and listen to your opinions in your life. Get over it, people. Tell us what you think.
No, I actually really like the way she worded
Yeah.
that. Sherise, do you remember how you said that again? Can you say that one more time? Because I think you worded it very well, actually. It's a cheap illusion. Is that what you said?
A cheap illusion to explain the unexplainable. It's kind of like in ancient times when they didn't understand how the sun went across the sky, a goddess or a god drove a chariot and pulled it across the sky. They created these illusions to explain the unexplainable. In my personal development growing up and my search for spirituality, that's all I saw Christianity to be. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe that Jesus Christ was an actual human that lived on this earth, and I believe that he was a good man, if everything they say is true. That's as far as I can go with it. I've always, I guess it goes back to when I was a little girl, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I was fascinated with ancient cultures, how we developed from then to now, and how we're still the same, making the same mistakes and what have you. And honestly, every organized religion that I have read into, which, don't get me wrong, I have a copy of the Bible. I love to read it, but it's more of a historical thing to me, and not necessarily like true facts. This is what happened as it's written in the Bible. No, but more in the historical fact of how humans thought about things at that particular time, and how they explained it, and how they justified their versions of right and wrong. But we grow, we evolve, we change. And at this point in society, I really don't think that it's relevant anymore.
Well, the problem also with organized religions is a lot of them, they're more focused on business. I mean, they have to survive, and they have to do things. So a lot of people, or a lot of certain denominations, or certain just single people who are trying to build a church, they kind of lose sight of what they're doing and start paying attention more to what can I do to get people more either afraid or be more faithful. Either way. I mean, either scare them into paying, or,
Once you start seeing money, right? You know what I mean? Sorry, Sherise, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I think once you start seeing money in it, then there is because everybody needs to meet. You know what I mean? They need to make ends meet. They need to put food on the table. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't know. What do you think, Sherise? Does that have a lot to do with? Does greed come into play with the organized religion?
100%, in my opinion. Like I said, I like to read. I'm into history and finding out the how things started and, you know, the origins and what have you. And when it comes to greed and religion, they go hand in hand, unfortunately, because if you think back to the Catholic Church, for example, it started as something small, you know, St. Paul or whoever, you know, blah, 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 created this church and founded it. Great. Well, then it became a power thing and a money thing. And next thing you know, they are the superpower that's in charge of the kings and queens of the world. And they hold all the power. They can make and break you. So all of a sudden, you know, that had to be kept intact. You know, they had to keep that power and keep that power. And unfortunately, a lot of that, in order to keep their power, they had to make other things less important or sacrilege. Like, let's burn all the witches because they do things naturally. And, you know, I mean, it just, power and greed, I think, are unfortunately just a motivator in human nature and have been throughout history. And unfortunately, it's a big thing when it comes to religion. It's about power and control.
And that's, but I think that's with any kind of religion. That's why, you know, like you said earlier, when I said, if anybody doesn't like your opinions, you know, fuck them, because it's like, these are opinions and personal beliefs. There's somebody who has just as valuable personal beliefs. I mean, like Ralph said, Lisa, his wife Lisa, is a Buddhist. I'm not invalidate. I'm not doing the bad thing of validating.
That's actually one of the closest, the most appealing organized religions I've ever seen.
Right.
Honestly, is Buddhism. I very much believe a lot of their core beliefs.
But it's like, it's starting to get to a point now where it's like religion is becoming a team thing, you know? And it's like, dude, that's your personal belief. Do what makes you a good person. But, you know, I'll throw the obvious one, Scientology. They can trace L. Ron Hubbard to a poker table telling his friends, hey, you know, if you start a religion, you don't have to pay taxes. So I'm going to start a religion. They know that for a fact. And yet here we are. But if somebody follows Scientology and it makes them a better person, more power to you, dude. I'm not going to knock it, you know.
Bottom line.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you said, you don't want to offend anybody, but you're not offended by learning and by going, I don't agree with that. So a lot of the people who follow the organized religions follow in that, well, you're not against my team, so you fuck you. And you're like, well, that's not very religious there, Chet. Gear down.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Everybody needs to have faith in something other than themselves.
Yep.
And
That's absolutely true.
it doesn't matter what it is, whatever works for you and gives you your power.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
But the question that raises the question, actually, and because there's people like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It takes all kinds to have a certain belief system, and I believe Cody and I were talking about this the other day. Actually, I think it was yesterday. We were talking about this belief systems. What's your take on that? I mean, I don't want to get too far into it because I wanted to talk to you about something else when it comes to like paganism and Christianity and where that all ties in. But first, let's talk about belief systems, because a long time ago, and I'm not going to say how long because I don't want to date myself too much, but someone brought this to my attention and I thought it was a completely fascinating point. They said to me, do you know that everything you believe in is based on what your parents and everyone they allowed into your world to train you was truth and reality? And by the time you were about, I don't know, 7 to 10, somewhere in that area, you had already decided whether or not you were buying all in or you were curious about other things. You know, but isn't that crazy? You're not even old enough to do anything, really. I mean, you're a child. Everybody's trying to protect you. Nobody thinks you can't vote, you can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't do anything worthwhile, really. Or you can't do anything that makes, that you're not going to be accounted for.
Yeah.
Because you're a child. You know what I mean? So
The most important decision in life happens that young.
exactly. So do you believe that those belief systems are locked into our psyche at a very early age, and that makes it so very difficult for us to break out of that and explore what else could possibly be reality?
To a certain extent, yeah, I do, because if you're raised very close-minded and this is the way things are and this is it, you're programmed that that's the way it is. So it'll be very hard for you to break that later on, unless you grow up and are rebelling against that because everything seems wrong about it. It's either going to be one way or the other. Like I said, I was blessed in that I was raised in try it all, make your own decision.
So you do have some guilty pleasures. Who would be your top one?
Top guilty pleasure?
I mean, you live in Vegas, so I mean, so doesn't Celine Dion like rule Vegas, or who
She
else?
pushes
would be?
back like, I'm leaving. This interview's
Oh,
over.
yeah, I know.
You said
Well, I
Celine
just
Dion.
wanna
We're
know-
out.
I just want to know if there's like a guilty pleasure. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Let's
Somebody
see.
who plays in Vegas a lot. You know what I mean?
Carrot
That might
Top.
be-
Are you a fan of Carrot Top?
I love Carrot Top.
There you go.
He's fucking
There you go.
man.
Yeah, he's insane. He gets a lot of shit. That was the only reason I was like, who gets a lot of shit in Vegas right now?
Angel.
Oh, Chris Angel,
Red
yeah.
Bob.
So, well, now that we're talking about Chris Angel, illusions, magic.
Dan Sperry's my favorite right now.
What is that?
Dan Sperry. He is a shock illusionist here in Vegas.
Oh,
And once again, he is not your average shock illusionist, you know, very dark, very creepy.
Kind of
very-
niche branding kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
well, how did you get into the dancing aspect of it? Is that something that you were always into, and you just went with what, you know what I mean, what you were into at the time? Because I'm imagining that as you know, as you were growing up, you very much were attracted to the darker side of life. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. That is accurate. When I was a little girl, though, I thought that there was something wrong with me because of it. Because I've always liked dead things and the dark, creepy stuff, and you know, just I've never been a rainbows and you know, pony type of girl.
Right.
When did you find your community, though? Because obviously, at some point, you had to think to yourself, "Hey, this is where I'm leaning. This is the kind of stuff that I'm interested in. This is the kind of stuff I'm into." I'm assuming there were clubs and stuff like that, and you were just like, like I'm curious. Let me check this out. Let me know. I want to know your first experience at connecting with the culture that you were into.
Well, growing up, there wasn't really, you know, I don't want to say when I was in high school, but there was no such thing as a goth culture back then. There were freaks and mods and skaters and metalheads and melts and all of that, but I was just weird. You know, there was no group I fit into. I was just weird, you know. And as far as the performing, you know, I started with everything. My grandma threw me on stage at 2 years old. So, you know, I don't know what the first thing about dance at 2 years old. I copied what I saw. We had belly dancers, we had hula dancers, jazz, what have you. My grandma threw me, same with religion, she did the same thing with dance. Oh, I'm going to take disco lessons this day. I'm going to take baton lessons this day. I'm going to take jazz that, you know, I was exposed to many different forms growing up, but we had a belly dancer in our show who eventually was, you know, she was a teacher. She ended up being very highly respected in the industry. But she was in our shows, and I would watch her, and I was mesmerized. The veil, the sword, the zills, the serpentine movements. I was just fascinated with it. And it had a very dark edge to it because she danced with a sword and sometimes a snake. And, you know, the reactions in the audience were just like, you know, it's so cool and sexy, but oh my gosh, it's so scary. You know, it was just, I loved the unexpected aspect of it, and the sensuality of showing what a woman is and what our function in life is, so to speak, but with that dangerous edge. I just, that's what I fell in love with, is the dangerous beauty aspect.
So you basically were introduced at an early age to Selma Hayek from Dusk Till Dawn. And you went, lonely dog, bow your head. And you were like, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I want to do. Yeah.
I shouldn't admit this, but I was far already deep into it by the time that movie came out.
Oh, wow. Well, no, I mean, you know what I mean? I believe it, man. I believe that you have been doing this for a while, but not in a bad way, because I think you embody that. I think the one thing that I got to say is I love my wife to death, and I love the fact that she loves the Gothic culture. And for me, she embodies a more mature woman that is almost timeless on some levels. And I think you embody the same thing. I really do. You have this timeless look to you, very beautiful woman with a very Gothic look to you. And I can see why David's, very attracted to you. So there it is. It's a very enticing thing. So the curiosity to me comes, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Because it's a very rare thing. You know what I mean? It's not like every other woman is like that. Not at all. You know what I mean? It's very far and few between. And I know that there's people that love the hard rock, industrial, Gothic, heavy metal culture. God, how many guys are out there looking for that woman that's like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like searching for it. They never find it. David is the lucky guy that me and David are both lucky guys that find that kind of thing, in my opinion, but it's rare. It's few and far between. So how would you explain where that started in your life and how you handled it? I mean, because you obviously knew, did you have a group of friends that were into the same thing as you, or did you have to kind of go it alone for a while?
It was more going it alone for a while. In high school, I did find my tribe, so to speak.
Mm.
And it was the metalhead crowd. They were musicians and rockers, the long hair outcasts. And most of that group, and this is why, metalheads is my family, is, we were all into the same twisted stuff. We loved horror movies. We loved, heavy metal, Tarna. Tarna was if you haven't seen heavy metal, the original, you have to. Tarna's a badass. So if you've seen heavy metal, you know what Tarna looks like, a badass or warrior bitch. I wanted to be her. At 12 years old, she was the epitome of what I wanted to be. She was a strong, badass, sexy fucking woman that you didn't fuck with, or she'd chop your head off.
It's funny, now that you're saying the way you're speaking about this and the way your grandmother put you in all these positions, it's funny because what she raised was that character. She didn't want somebody who was being told how a girl should act or how you should be in your place or you got to be a certain way in society. She wanted you to just raise the way you wanted to be raised. And so she did. You just became a badass because you weren't told you're a girl, go paint with pink stuff.
No.
That's pretty badass at the same time. I'll use badass 3 more times before the show. You watch.
Well,
my ego is getting huge.
There's something. There's something to be said for being, unique, and I think deep down inside, I think everybody out there wants to be considered unique. You know what I mean? Let's face it. Nobody really okay, if people are comparing you to someone that is like fantastic, that everybody loves and everybody thinks is the best thing there is. You know what I mean? The best thing since, what do they say? Sliced bread.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they're comparing you to that, of course, you're going to sit there and you're going to go, oh, wow, you know, I'm being compared to the best of the best. How cool is this? But at the end, I really do think people want to be individuals. And so how cool would it be to be an individual? You know what I mean? And so what you're doing is very cool because it falls under that. So even if there's like a whole bunch of people that follow popular culture and that's all they're into, don't really give two shits about what you're doing, it doesn't really matter because ultimately it's about mathematics. And mathematics tells us that more people like what you're doing because you're an individual than people that don't even understand it. And that's the truth. If you break it down, that's the truth. Cody's looking at me right now and he's all, I don't know. We'll have to look into those facts.
I have to do the math.
I just made that up on the fly, so it could be bullshit. But hey, you know what?
No, I see where you're going with it though, dude. People
You know what I'm saying?
they want individuality.
It's a double-edged sword though when you're growing up, because on the one hand you want to fit in, you want to be accepted, and that means conforming. At least that's what we're told, and that's what makes sense.
Right.
It takes a certain amount of either confidence or I don't give a fuck to truly become who you are. And I think that, well, in my case, I think that the older I get, the more I'm just like, you know what? This is me. I'm gonna do me. If you don't like it, whatever. If you like it, come on, let's have some fun.
Yep. And I think that's how it should be. I honestly, I mean, you figured it out. I mean, a lot of people want that, but they're too afraid to go, I like anime. Who cares? If go find people who like anime then, you know? I mean, that's why I was trying to get my daughter to understand. She loves that show and she's like, you know, nobody in school likes anime. I said, oh, honey, just go and start talking about it. Somebody will say something, you know, but a lot of people are afraid. What if somebody doesn't like that or think I'm stupid because I like it, or, you know, and they take that shit into adulthood. It's rough, man.
Yeah, they really, I mean, it's part of our psyche as humans in this day and age, unfortunately. It's the whole, you know, I want to be accepted. And if I do this, I may not be accepted or people won't like it. I mean, believe me, as a belly dancer, it's a huge thing because it's a very, it's a culturalized creative outlet. It comes from a culture.
Right.
So, you know, everybody wants, you know, you have to do it authentically. You have to use authentic music, this and that, the other thing. When I started seeing people fusing things like flamenco dance with heavy metal and things like that, I was just like, I always wanted to belly dance to heavy metal music, but I thought, you know, oh my God, I'll be completely ostracized, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Now it's a huge thing. I actually am in a worldwide troupe of heavy metal and dark fusion belly dancers. We have members around the world. Sweden, Australia, South America, lots of US. I mean, it's amazing. You know, and that's the thing, something you don't think that other people are going to be open to, you never know unless you put it out there.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, 20 years ago, I would never have thought that I'd be getting paid to dance, to belly dance to heavy metal music. Like, oh, there's no way. And now it's like, whoa, cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds insane when you say it out loud. You're just like, okay, that's a push. Right on, give it a shot, see where it goes. You know,
it's amazing how well it works. Though, I mean, not all metal music is danceable, obviously, right. You know, but a lot of it is perfect for it because belly dance is a percussive movement. It has a lot of percussive movement, so you can follow along with the drum beat, and then, you know, the flowing guitars, vocals, whatever. I mean, dancing in general, no matter what style you do, is ultimately it's turning audio into visual.
Right.
That's it.
Well,
you know, you're creating a visual story to go along with the audio.
Right. What's the Like the cultural, obviously, of belly dancing, but what is is it a seductive dance? Is it just going with beat? Like, what is the background to the actual form of belly dancing?
Well, from what I have studied, and there's a lot of debate on this, but from what I have studied, belly dancing originated as a cultural training for women. Belly dancing was something that they did only for women, to each other, secluded. And it was kind of like a big thing for preparing a woman for marriage, childbirth, etc. All of the base movements for belly dancing are created for a female body and function. So
like working pelvic muscles and doing stuff to maximize. That's interesting. I never knew that. That's weird.
Yeah, and also not only childbirth and all of that, but being good in bed.
Right.
You know, the whole thing in ancient cultures was creating a favorable match, a favorable marriage, good children, healthy children, you know, all of that. So the more appealing a woman was, the better match could be made for their family. So dancing was something that the women did amongst themselves as a, you know, to enhance that femininity. And to the dancing, a lot of the movements, if you look at them, they are very sensual.
Yeah.
And there's no, a lot of people like to argue the fact, but to me, there's no separation. Belly dancing is the celebration of a woman's body and a woman, what the core of it, you know, like in culture, women are always told, stand up straight, suck in your gut, do this, do that. Well, in belly dancing, it's completely the opposite. You want to use all of that, you know, because all those muscles are what keep us standing upright.
Right. Absolutely.
That's interesting. Do you know where that concept came from or derived? Because you're absolutely right. I was into bodybuilding for a long time, and I remember studying what the bodybuilders were doing. Believe it or not, one of the biggest things they do when they're preparing to show their bodies is they learn how to suck their waist in, and it's unnatural.
Yeah, their ribs all poke out and stuff. It's
it's something that they put a lot of time and focus into. It's not something that comes natural. As a matter of fact, I happen to be one of those people that are cursed with a lazy abdominal section. I work it. I've worked out my whole life, but the point is, when I'm just like chilling with my friends, I don't think about it. So I'm not holding it in. I'm not sucking it in. And a lot of times, but that's like, I've even watched videos with Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about how he had to develop that skill. You know what I mean? He had to learn how to do that. And yeah, you can see it too. It's like, whoa, dude, he's like totally sucking it in. It's not just flat. He's like sucking it way in there. So is there a similarity, or is it the complete opposite with belly dancing?
There's a similarity in the aspect of the muscular control. Like, for example, in abdominal work and belly dance, this is one long sheet of muscles. However, the ligaments create that six-pack, and therefore you can kind of separate when you're isolating. Like for a belly dancer, lower abs, middle abs, upper abs. So you learn how to roll those muscles by controlling what part you're contracting, what part you're releasing. So it's not necessarily like, for example, with the bodybuilding, they're sucking it, contracting it all in and pulling the diaphragm in to create that hole, so to speak. Where in belly dancing, you would do that for a minute, but then you would push out another part of your belly to show the contrast.
Oh, okay. Like
So
you said,
you're
it's very snake-like. It's kind of slithery and okay.
For every action, there's a reaction. So, you know, you kind of want to have that balance of that sinewy, you know, I mean, there's other parts, like say for a certain part of a song, you want it to be very static and stiff, and that's fine. But essentially, the sinewy serpentine movements is definitely more what people expect to see with belly dancing.
So when you're
And
doing it to heavy metal, is it what's the more optimal kind of metal? Like what right off the top of your head, what's the first song that comes to your mind that you're like, that's the perfect song?
what I'm working on right now, Toxicity by System of a Down.
Really? Okay.
And the reason I chose that song is because it's got two very distinct sections. It's
Right.
got the very percussive with that, you know, solid drum beat, and then it's got the very melodic.
That flowy
So,
kind of, yeah.
Yes, so
Yeah.
exactly. So one, you know, so it calls for two separate kind of personalities, two separate types of movements. So, you know, and I'm a freak when I do choreographing. I don't choreograph like most dancers. I visualize a theme, a story, and kind of go with it from there. You know, I just
So
don't
you're
use-
choreographing to the story in your head, not necessarily to the song you're listening to.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
However, I mean, the song has to fit in with my vision.
Right.
Usually the song will trigger the vision. Not always. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes a costume will trigger the whole thing. Or, you know, one time I choreographed something just because I was standing outside and the way the trees were waving, I was like, ended up with a whole choreography out of it. You never know. You never know. Inspiration strikes anywhere, which, you know, you guys as musicians, I'm sure you know that.
Yep.
You never know when it's going to come.
Well, I envision that tribal style music because it's basically the core of any kind of native culture, right? You know what I mean? It's that raw tribal beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Voodoo from Godsmack, something like that.
That is the perfect song
Yeah,
to,
something
to
like that.
connect with this conversation.
What'd you
to
say?
be honest with you.
I've danced to that one.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
So is that like a preferred style? Because there's definitely bands that follow that signature. Tool would be one of them, I would imagine. I would imagine you could dance to some Tool music. Yes.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I don't stick with certain bands or anything. I just you know, for example, Death Angels. What was it? Veil of Deception. I just recently did a piece, or last year actually, I did a piece of that one, just simply because it made me feel. It helped me work through some feelings of sadness that I would over something personal that I was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times I'll choose music for cathartic reasons, you know. I mean, I do have my favorites, of course,
Right,
you know.
right.
Disturbed is always fun to dance to, and you know,
Lovely band,
down
for sure.
but I really also like dancing for local bands, or you know, just obscure random things.
Do you do like do you bring like a crew and do like opening act performances, or do you just perform while the band is playing?
Either or.
Okay.
Either or. It depends on what they want. If they want a full show, it would have to be like an opening act
Right.
type of thing. If they want me to just dance with the band, you know, I can just go out there and rock it, or we can create some. I've done whole themed, choreographed storylines. You know, it just depends on what you want, or what the band wants, or what they're envisioning, or you know, the venue, the crowd.
We did an episode on the podcast with your husband, David Sixx.
Mhm.
And the reason we did that was because David's he's been involved in the music industry, involved in a very similar thing as you. I mean, obviously he's done behind the scenes roadie type work and stuff like that. And he's been, you know, helping bands and just right there, you know, when they're doing their thing for as long as I've known them, You know what I mean? He's been doing internet radio stuff, grassroots promotion. It just, the guy comes out from, you know, wherever he's at, he shows up to support the bands that he believes in.
All of the above.
Exactly.
That would be
And
episode
so-
23, by the way.
Episode 23. So if you guys check that out, David Sixx,
Definitely.
and that is Sherise's husband. So I would just wanted to kind of mention that to tie you guys in. And I just kind of want to briefly talk about how did you guys meet and how did you guys connect?
This is the story.
He goes back at wow in the background.
So, our favorite club here in Las Vegas is called Vamped. Vampire themed bar, very cool bar. Anyways, that's where I and he were hanging out at the time, and I performed there once in a while, and he helped bands, like as you said. And one night, a band that I work with, Tinnitus, was on stage, and a girlfriend of mine and his, it turns out, was on stage eating glass during part of one of the songs.
Like you do.
Yeah, you know, it's just like we do. So, but David saw her and was like, I know her. Oh my God. And then she's sticking, you know, skewers through her mouth. Oh my God. We worked together. So it turned out that they had actually worked together doing suspension and what have you down in LA for Core, I believe was the company.
Yep.
And I did something on stage with Tinnitus as well. I think that was with Thin Bodie and Karen Creep. I think that was when we chopped the watermelon with the katana on our belly. Anyways, fast forward. Couple weeks later, I'm doing a show at Vamped with a band called Out of the Black. And Sean Coey was singing, and I was planning on doing it was Eyes of a Stranger by Queensryche. So I go out on the stage to start doing my thing, and David is on the stage roadieing or helping the guitarist or whatever, and he sees me. Maybe I should let him tell this part.
David, feel free to join in, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Sixx chiming in. Tell what's up, my brother?
How that actually went was I was helping the drummer and the guitar player on the left side. Sherise comes out wearing her costume, and she's got like her face covered for Eyes of a Stranger.
I'm wearing like a cloak covering me.
Yeah. I didn't even know it was actually Sherise because I couldn't see her face. All I saw was the body, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. Who the fuck is this? Lord, she's hot, you know, and one of my buddies is like, bro, she's taken, and that's her boyfriend. Oh, I don't give a fuck, dude. One day it'll be mine. You know, and she came off stage, we started talking, and we had always been really friendly, really cordial. Just, I never really hit on her because she had a boyfriend, because that's not what I do. You know?
Because you're not a douchebag. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'm not one of them. But I am going to embarrass this one for a minute. If I can. We went to another show separately. I went to go roadie for another band at a casino. And I had recently gotten some tattoo work done on my back piece. I had posted photos of it on Facebook. I get to the casino and she sees me and, oh my God, take off your shirt, and takes my shirt off in the middle of the fucking casino in front of her boyfriend.
How'd that work out?
Worked out great for me. Well,
Yeah, we broke up. Me and that guy broke up shortly.
for other reasons. Not
For other reasons, yeah.
But when they broke up, it was a really bad thing, and she had gone to Vamp, really upset, you know, hanging out with her girlfriends, and I just kind of sat in the parking lot and talked to her. I wasn't trying to hit on her. I wasn't trying to get down her pants.
He didn't take advantage of me.
Yeah, I wasn't being a douchebag. You know, long story short, we ended up going to lunch like a week later, I think. just to kind of talk. Well, that conversation lasted 5 hours.
Damn.
Through the waitress getting off shift and saying, you know, guys, are you gonna order?
She's all, the moons over my hammy are getting fucking cold. Okay. You take your gothic ass motherfucking. No, I'm just. They were just like, this guy's the perfect fucking. This is the fucking gothic couple right here. We have to film this shit. Didn't you guys get married in Halloween?
Yeah,
Day before Halloween, yeah.
Halloween.
Hell yeah.
You guys like are a true testament to the culture, man. The metal and gothic culture. That's why I love you guys so much. It's like we're so happy to have you as part of our tribe, guys. Seriously, because it's like so cool. You know what I mean? Look at this dude. He's making metal horns as he's talking to me. It's just
He's like, so
fitting.
anyways.
Yeah.
I cannot.
No, and I know a lot of people that don't get the gothic and metal community. They think we're a bunch of freaks, but I mean, I really don't care. There's so many communities that wrap into that culture, you know, between the horror community and I mean, you can
David,
go
hang on.
man.
I gotta ask 1 second before you leave. One more before you go.
One more before you go.
Okay.
Sherise, were you with David when he started, before or after he started hooking himself in the back?
After.
Okay, tell me how that went. Tell me how that discussion went.
Okay. Well, as I said, when we were performing with Tinnitus and he saw the girl up there putting skewers in her cheeks and chewing on glass, he was like, I wonder if they would let me do something with them. So then him and the singer start talking. And the singer finds out what this guy has done in the past. Hooks here, whatever. And it's like, holy shit, dude, that'd be awesome. Let's do it. So our first show together, and this is before we got together. Our first show together, we get talking and we decide that we're going to do this whole skit where he's hooked up to the chains and going through the crowd. And I'm on stage looking for my lover in this elaborate wedding gown. And then he comes up and anyways.
And you guys weren't together at the time? It was just part of the...
No, we
oh
weren't.
My God.
No, we weren't. But it was a huge hit, and he was so much fun to work with, and you know, we just clicked, and that was it. And you know, the show was such a success. It's like, hey, David, you want to do that again sometime? And
Yeah, and then your idea was to hang a drum for me while I play it.
That was your idea?
Mhm.
Fuck.
Basically, how that came about is
yeah, that was
Tinnitus is a cover band and they're mixed up with like members of Blue Man Group and circus performers, Cirque du Soleil, me, the freak. And I had done shows in the past for him where I'm like going through the crowd with chains on my back. I'm, you know, doing all kinds of different things. And one night she's like, you know, we're in the dressing room at Vamp right after a show with Tinnitus, and she goes, you know, they always do the song Beautiful People, where they bring out like 9 freaking drummers to play the drum line. Could you hang a drum from yourself and either have somebody play it or you play it? I didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, I could do that.
See, we like the way she thinks.
Right. So
Consultant. No.
I ran it, you know, that night we run it by the singer, Jeff Tatora, and he goes, oh, hell yeah, dude, let's do this, you know.
That's a
And
great
I'm like,
idea, man.
after we get home and I sober up, I'm like, wait a minute. What the fuck did I just agree to? I don't
And
know.
how heavy is that drum?
I know, right?
Well,
But look, I'm not to cut you off, brother, but there's another good question that I'm sure the people that watch this podcast would like to have a little bit more of a view on. You know what I mean? And that is that what you guys do, and really what a lot of people in the heavy metal and gothic community do, is physical on many levels.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Would you guys not agree with that?
100%.
Yeah, you
I
guys
mean,
sacrifice a lot more than most bands do. I mean, collectively, come on.
Little skin, little blood, you
You know what I mean? And there's a
Just a
there's a
little
lot of there's a lot of darkness that enshrouds this whole culture, but at the same time, there's a lot of beauty that
There's beauty in darkness.
yes, absolutely.
To me, there's so much beauty in darkness.
No, and it's I think it's subjective too, because everybody goes, "Oh, that's so dark," and you go, like you said,
you.
if somebody hears pagan, you're like, "Oh, you're so dark." It's like, is it? They respect fucking nature. What's dark about that? You know.
Right?
But
Right.
that's what society. Oh no, that's dark. You don't do that. Okay, well now it's dark. It's really not. You know.
You, I do what I
No.
want.
Huh?
And it
I said, fuck you, I do what I want.
Yeah. The moral is, you could get tattoos. You could stick hooks in your back. Just don't be a douchebag.
Exactly. Exactly.
well, on an purely aesthetic level,
Yeah.
as far as how it looks, I think a lot of people are attracted to tattoos. People that are not even involved in the metal culture. I mean, I know so many people that have tattoos, and I'm like thinking to myself, "Are you a metalhead or something?" And they're not even close.
Yeah.
Right.
Not even close. I mean, I was surprised. I was talking to a guy today, and he was all, "Well, I know who Disturbed is." And I'm like, I'm surprised because you look like you could be a major metalhead. But outside of Disturbed, he didn't know any other band in that
Of course
culture.
not.
So it was like, wow. But that's where the culture really gets deep, right? In the body art, right? Am I
Yep.
not
Yep.
right about that? I mean, it's there's so much beauty of the dark involved in tattoos and the entire culture of piercings. You guys would know way more about that than I do. Give us some light about that. Shed some light about what you're attracted to about that. What brought you so deep into that culture? Because you guys are obvious. We don't even have to say anything. We can just show a picture of you guys right here.
Yeah.
And people are gonna know
Sleeves,
they're
tattoos, the
involved
whole
in
nine.
that culture. You know what I mean? So what is it that drew you guys to that?
Well, for me personally, it's a matter of individuality and a matter of I love beautiful art, and if I can have a beautiful piece of art that means something on my body,
It ain't go nowhere.
it's not going anywhere, and it's almost a spiritual experience, you know. I don't know really how else to explain it, because I mean everybody gets tattoos for their own personal reasons, but
Well,
for me it's definitely the what it represents.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
you know, each design is different, each tattoo has its own story. I mean, the only thing that I can say that actually attracted me to that and piercings is a way of it's a matter of uniqueness and creating a visual that you like.
Yeah.
The
Expression. Yeah.
Yeah. David's got a little bit of different insight into the pain aspect of it, so I'll let him go on that one.
What pain?
Some people
I-
get a rush out of the pain.
It depends on what kind of pain. No, for me, it's when I go and get tattooed. Obviously, I've been doing it a while. I've been collecting tattoo work for probably 20 years. From the very first time I got tattooed, it was like I just felt relaxed. You know, it was a weird feeling. I was like, I could, depending on how long I'm getting tattooed, I can literally go to sleep.
Really?
For most of my work, I've gone to sleep.
Wow.
Um,
So it's more like the endorphin release that just
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It is. You know, a lot of it's really weird to explain. Like the best way I can describe it is, you know, for me when I do a show with the hooks, it's like I said on the podcast. When I was a kid, I, you know, dabbled in all the stupid crap. You know, the shit that got you in trouble, drinking, drugs, all that. What I get out of doing the hooks and getting tattooed beats that hands down. That feeling,
damn.
you know. It's like I told her, I go do a show and she knows. And yeah, I'm gonna be blunt. I go do a show with the hooks. I want to come home and fuck. It is that endorphin rush.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you may have answered my other question. Well, I was gonna ask Sherise because this episode is a lot more about Sherise than you, David. But at the same time, since you guys are married, I have to consider that you guys have mutual interests. So my question was, Sherise is what David does with the pain stuff and the you know what I mean, the piercing and the suspension, because most people would think this man is crazy. You know what I mean? He needs help. He wants to stick shit through his body and hang from his own body weight off of this shit. It's like most people are not thinking this is some kind of a weekend endeavor that I'm never going to forget in a good way. They're going to say, I'm never going to forget this in a horrible way. I'm never going to stop having nightmares about what happened to me. But David loves this. So I got to ask, do you like it too? Do you find this appealing? Or do you just go along with it?
I am not into, like, I've never done suspension. I have piercings, but what he does, I couldn't do. However, it's a turn on to me that more the theatrical aspect than the actual piercing, if that makes sense. The fact that when he goes out there in front of the crowd, he becomes the character. That is hot.
So it's the commitment to the performance and not the hooks.
Yes. for
David,
me,
you heard
yeah.
her. Just wear a belt, bro. You don't have to hook yourself. Just wear some cool clothes, wander around, just be the character.
I think it's fun though.
No, I totally get it. There's got to be some commitment to the art, right? You know,
Yeah.
if you're not willing to take that dive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To say, you know what? Because anybody can do so. Anybody can stand up. It's like karaoke. People ask me, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it right here, right now. I don't like karaoke. Why? You're a fucking singer, dude. Why don't you like karaoke? Because everybody and their mom wants to pretend like they're a professional singer, and it took me years to develop that craft. And I hate to say it, but my ears have feelings. So if you suck, I really don't want to be around. That's why I got into the professional side of this, to watch people that have developed their talents and now know what they're doing and now can perform something that you're actually going to enjoy. And that's why I don't like karaoke. But other than that, I get why people like it, because it's a lot of fun. You get to drink, you get drunk, and sing your favorite songs. So I totally get
People
it.
that can't sing normally.
Exactly. And I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I don't want to put it down, but at the same time, it relates to what you guys do, because what you're doing is an art form as well, and it's a form of entertainment. So the last thing I want to do is go to a bar where a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing when it comes to what you guys do are just fucking hanging themselves off of shit. It's like, fuck, I'm gonna be on 911 all night.
Look, it's because I made a waitress quit. I mean,
But that's what I respect about what you guys do. You guys have it's a talent. You guys have, it's a part of something that's natural for you guys, and you guys have taken the time to develop it. And you guys have even taken the time to extend yourself to other artists and go, let's collaborate. We could make something really cool that I know for a fact
Love
people
collaborations.
Yes. And Marilyn Manson is a great, I mean, you know, whatever you think of him, I'm not trying to throw an opinion out there or say he's a good or bad person. That has nothing to do with.
He's a great artist that did some terrible shit. Let's just say it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Almost every other rock star in history.
100%.
Exactly. But he did the visual part of what he does and what you guys do. I love it. I think it's fantastic, and I wish there were more artists doing stuff like that. So yeah, more power to you guys. I can't wait to introduce you guys to more people, because I think it's very cool. I think if more bands did that kind of thing, instead of just showed up and played their music and just relied on their musical talent to be the thing that grabs people. Because I think people, you know, think about all the effort that's put into the major films that we are excited to go see.
Oh, yeah.
That people wait online for days, camp out to go see. What do they all have in common? it's next level.
Yep.
They went beyond what they had to
Full
do.
commitment to the
Way
game.
beyond.
I
Exactly.
think back to when I was going to concerts as a kid and Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden was on a whole nother level because of their stage show.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the music that you could listen to on the album. It was the show.
It was the overall. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And why not? I mean, anybody can go buy your album, but if you want them to come see you and come see you on more than one occasion, you got to give them a show.
Give them something more than they expected. And Kiss had that same issue when they started. Right? Because Kiss had that same issue. When they started, nobody liked to listen to their music. They wanted to go see the live show. But when they put out an album, they're like, okay, cool, it's music. It's like, no, it's Kiss. Go see them, and then you'll like them. Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense because as much as I like Pantera, when I saw them live, that changed everything, man.
Yeah.
I became a major fan after that. I mean, up to that point, Cemetery Gates was my favorite song. I liked Cowboys from Hell, and I liked a lot of their stuff. But the truth is, when I saw them live, I had a whole new perspective on what they did. I was like, wow, these guys are so powerful.
Yeah.
And it drew me in. Next thing I knew, on the way home, we were listening to everything we could get from them. And I was like, dude, I'm a Pantera fan.
No shit, dude. That it's
You
pretty
know?
much exactly the same. They're not metal, but that's why I got so into the Struts. The Struts opened for Motley Crue on their last show in L.A. or their last show, but the supposed very last show they were going to ever play. I was there, and the Struts opened for them, and their performance was so good. Me and my wife were on the phone driving back from L.A. looking for the Struts. I mean, it was just they stepped out and did what they needed to do. I think
Same thing for me with Stabbing Westward, bro. I had heard their single on the radio. I think it was "What Do I Have to Do" or something like that.
Right.
This was way back in the day. I was a Depeche Mode fan, so they came out and they were doing like a full, like all their songs or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I got to go see these guys. So I went to see them at the San Diego Sports Arena, and Stabbing Westward opened for them. They blew me the fuck away. Their performance was so amazing and energetic. I became a Stabbing Westward fan at that moment instantly. And I was like, not as impressed with the Depeche Mode. But they still are one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, let's get back to you, Sherise. Sherise, outside of what drives you with the art that you do, what would you say is completely different about what you do than what other people do? Because you, like you mentioned earlier, there are some artists out there that are doing the belly dancing metal thing. Do you think what you do is different? And if so, what? I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Well, I think that as far as like metal belly dancing, my style is a little bit different than most for the simple fact that I'm not just taking Middle Eastern moves or Middle Eastern dance and putting it to metal music. It's got to be created for the song, for the feel. And I don't just, that's the whole thing of fusion. I throw in whatever I think fits the song. It'll have a Middle Eastern, a belly dance feel to it, but it's not going to be just somebody going out and doing belly dancing to a metal song.
Right. Is belly dancing traditionally choreographed, or is it mostly improvised?
Mostly improvised.
Okay.
Traditionally.
Okay.
And I mean, honestly, I'm more of an improv dancer than I do choreographies, and I always like have a theatrical plan in mind. But I like to leave things kind of loose, because especially if it's a live performance, because you never, you want to leave room for interacting with the musicians, the crowd, whatever, I just want to keep that openness of not just walking through motions,
Right.
I see dancers all the time, and they'll get up on stage and they'll go through the motions of a choreographed piece, and that's exactly what it looks like. Oh, good job. You guys learned that choreography really, really well.
Yeah.
I want to see a performance. I want to see something that makes me feel something. I want to see something that is not you showing off all of your technique, but creating something that has some sort of meaning or feeling behind it. You know, I mean, even if it's just like a fun, let's party song,
Right.
feel it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, my,
It's great.
my dad equated it when I was growing up and learning to play the guitar. I would play stuff and he goes, that's good, but you need to start learning to play music. He goes, you play the notes like nobody's business, but there's no feeling there. He goes, you need to learn how to play music. And it's the same. I think you're right. Like people
Yeah.
can choreograph and be great, but if it's not in there, it's just going to be very mechanical. You're going to look like a robot doing whatever you're going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You mentioned
And,
that that you were part of a worldwide metal belly dance. What is that?
The Stygian Collective.
Did you
We
start it, or
are-
was that
No.
really?
No, actually,
They found you.
they found me.
Nice.
It started out with this girl, Shyama, who lives in Illinois, and she had a metal fusion belly dance troupe of 3 girls called the Stygian Sisters. She decided when the pandemic hit, everything, you know, kind of died as far as gigs. So she turned it into this online collective and opened it up. And next thing you know, I mean, it started out, we had 6 members when I first started. Now we have 37.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're still growing. Yeah. The beauty of the group is that we're all like-minded. We're all into the sick, twisted, dark, fiery, horror theme, whatever. Anything that's not traditional and a little bit dark,
Right.
we're all about it. That's all we do, at least in this group. We have everything from fire dancers, flow dancers, belly dancing, sword, you know, whatever. We all pretty much do it all. But the cool thing about it is we have a biannual virtual event, a festival, a metal belly dance festival. We put on shows, workshops, the whole bit. We have the Descent, which happens every year in October. And then we have Ascension, which happens in the spring in April. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great group. We collaborate and do. It's kind of cool. I've never done anything like this before, but we collaborate and put together videos. We've done a couple of them with all of our members. So we got one video of one song with all of our members from around the world dancing it.
That's so
It's
cool.
really cool. It's really cool. I mean, one thing about this whole pandemic is it's forced the dance community to go virtual and to learn these. And there's a whole, it's amazing how much there is with this. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want live performances back so bad.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't stand it. But the virtual world kind of opens things up to a whole nother platform and a whole world of people. I mean, other than the once a year belly dance event, that was the only way I'd get to see these belly dancers from other parts of the world.
Right.
But now with this virtual world, I can connect with my dancers in my group. I can connect on a daily basis, no matter where they are. It's great.
And like you said, the ability to collaborate and come up with plans for those live events just makes it so much easier too. That would make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
But
Are you
also
into-
collaborating ideas. You know, a dancer in Sweden could have a totally different take on how to produce a show. You know, so the insight is incredible. Being connected to artists from around the world and hearing how they do things, their struggles.
Yeah.
It's really enlightening.
Do you guys have, because you guys are from Vegas, so do you guys have like a Renaissance fair out there of any kind? Or anything where that kind of like belly dance, because belly dancing is pretty popular in that culture, no?
Yeah, oh yeah. We have a Renaissance fair here in Las Vegas every year in October. I usually do perform there. I'm planning on performing this year, October 15th, 16th, and 17th, I believe. at the Renaissance Fair here in Vegas, it's fun. It's not real authentic, in my opinion, as opposed to like California Renaissance fairs. But it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of good performances. There's a nonprofit belly dance organization here in Las Vegas called Shifting Sands Belly Dance that I'm a part of, and we have our own encampment at the Renaissance Fair every year, and it's belly dance performances all weekend long on our stage.
It's so cool.
A lot of fun. Plus, you know, a lot of the girls, I don't camp because after 1 year getting the swine flu, no.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was fun. But it's a lot of fun. You know, we've done fire shows at Renaissance Fair before as well. Won't be doing fire this year. For obvious reasons, you know, insurance is.
Yeah, I can imagine. Do you when you use fire in your performances, do you blow fire or do you just twirl it?
I just twirl it and do flow. I have been trained in vapor work and doing the fire eating and vapor tricks and what have you, but I do have some health conditions that make it not a wise idea for me to do any breathing of fire anymore.
Right.
That's also why you have me.
And that's why I have him. He breathes fire. He spins poi. I do all the other fire tools.
There you go.
There you go. You guys are the perfect team. Well, I mean, since things are opening up, hopefully. And
Yes.
I heard Vegas is going to open up full.
We are officially opened 100% right
full
now.
capacity, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, do you guys have any plans to put on any performances?
I've got 2 in-person or live performances coming up. The one is for our local belly dance community here in Las Vegas. We have haflas, which is the Middle Eastern word for party or celebration, and basically it's just a bunch of the belly dance community just gets together. We have performances, potluck. We vend and sell items to each other, what have you. That's coming up on July 24th. And then, you were asking about the Hawaiian fire music.
Oh yes, the Hawaiian fire music.
On the 31st of July, a dear friend of mine's mother, they're having a celebration of life for her. And I think it's a fabulous idea. Have it while they're still here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're having a luau for her. She wanted to go to Hawaii before she passed away, but that's not going to be an option. So we're bringing Hawaii to her. So I'm going to be doing a Polynesian fire performance, which will be interesting because it's my first Polynesian fusion. But I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
My God, dude, people, if you don't hear a story like that and think that Gothic people are freaks, you can shut the fuck up. They're bringing Hawaii to oh my God, dude, that's such a great idea.
You know, I mean, we can't bring her to Hawaii, so bringing Hawaii to her. We also have a hula group that is going to be performing for them, for the lady, and Hawaiian banquet and all of that. So I'm looking forward to it. This lady's a real sweetheart, so I'm really hoping to put something special together for her. That's why I was on the hunt for that music. I had to find something perfect for her.
That's very, very cool. That's very, very cool. Yeah, well, you guys, you got to check out Sherise Sixx, and she's on Instagram. She's on Facebook. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes.
You do? Okay. What is that, by the way?
It is Gothik Doll, GOTHIK
Gothic Doll.
Yeah.
You guys heard it here. Check her work out. We are good friends with her husband. Her and her husband are part of our tribe, and we are doing things together. You will be hearing more about that kind of stuff in the future.
Yeah.
It's all about entertainment, and these guys bring the fire, so to speak. So.
No, quite literally.
Yes, it's true.
Sure will.
Sherise, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for
we will
having me.
have
Yeah,
we
this
will
was
have
great.
You guys back. This was fantastic.
Yeah.
I had a really
Yay.
good time, and I love bringing more information about the dark cultures, and the Gothic culture, and the heavy metal community out to people, because I think people just be surprised how many people just don't understand what really is going on there.
Yeah.
There's so much going on there that's positive.
We have another event coming up. I'm not performing, but another belly dancer is, and it should be quite spectacular because she's doing burlesque fusion. Babylon, the Court of Babylon Vampire Salon will be happening on June 20th for Solstice here in Las Vegas.
What's it called again?
The Court of Babylon Vampire Salon. It's through Endless Night Vampires. They do the balls, the Halloween ball in New Orleans, the Valentine's ball in LA, et cetera, et cetera. We just opened up the Babylon Court of Las Vegas, which is, our vampire court here. And our first big event will be on the Solstice on the 20th. And a fabulous performer by the name of Katie Swanson is going to be performing. She's a badass.
Nice.
I'm so excited to see her.
That's exciting, man. When is this going to happen again?
On June 20th, it'll be at the Mandalay Bay Hotel at the Foundation Room.
I know.
Sounds like fun. It really does. Yeah.
I'm excited.
So, something to look forward to. You guys have done some stuff. Have you ever been on a music video?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, there's something to plan for.
It's definitely on my bucket list because growing up back then, I wanted to be a video vamp.
Oh, okay.
High aspirations,
And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, back in the day was 2016.
Yeah.
If you're a vampire, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, this sounds like exciting stuff and a reason for people to get excited about going back out and seeing shows. I mean,
Any kind of live
really,
performance, really.
Yeah. Live performances, that's what it's all about. And you guys bring such a cool element to that. And as performers, Cody and I are like,
Yeah. It's inspiring to see this shit, dude.
Yeah, this is all a part of it.
Yeah.
A Scummy, I know he's used you guys live.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I love him. I actually met Scummy before I ever met David. I performed for him for a Halloween show here in Las Vegas back in 2005.
Which I was actually at.
Which I guess he was at, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And
That's why he sounded irritated right now.
Scummy gave me one of my bucket list items to do, though. I got to sing backup vocals for a show here in Vegas, and that was awesome.
Hell yeah, dude.
I love Scummy. Oh, and Miss Maggie, Scummy's wife, created this logo for me.
Oh, nice.
Oh, damn.
So she made that for you?
Yes, she did. That's me.
Hell yeah, dude. That's cool.
Very cool. Very cool. So is that just a personal thing, or do you sell those on your
I sell those on
Instagram, or do you have
I sell them on Etsy and also on a site called Customized Girl.
Good. I mean, the only thing I would ask for people that really want to get to know you beyond what we've talked about, I know people like favorites, so I'll ask you a few favorite questions. One, what's your favorite color?
Favorite club?
Color.
What's my favorite? Oh, color.
Yeah.
Black.
Black. Really? Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Black and red are my two favorite colors.
Nice.
That's a good answer. I like that. Who's your favorite actor and why?
My favorite actor? Oh, geez. Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee.
Because when he played Dracula way back, that was a very it got me. That character got me. It was so believable and so intense that, and I've never seen any character played since then with that kind of, that had that kind of effect on me. And he's just continued in all of his roles to be an incredible actor. So yeah, I'd have to say Christopher Lee.
Yeah,
And the fact that he did a metal album, hey.
yeah, I was just gonna bring that up. Yeah, he's got that big, deep, booming voice, and he started doing metal albums towards. He's freaking awesome.
He's pretty authentic, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick between the genres, the darker genres of horror and say the supernatural, which would you say you're more interested
I would, I'd have to say the supernatural if I had to choose between the two.
in? And why so?
Because there's so much to explore in that aspect, and it's something that is real, in my opinion. It's something that you can actually look into and measure, and
There's evidence for you, is what you're saying.
there's actual
It could
evidence.
happen.
In
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
the nerdy part of my brain, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, horror is a whole other thing, but I absolutely love, but supernatural, definitely.
You're saying ghosts are more likely than Freddy Krueger, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So because music is so it really encompasses everything that we've been talking about here. Who would you say, because we never even asked, who are your 3 favorite bands, the top 3 bands that you love the most, that you listen to the most, that you couldn't go a day without?
That's
And it doesn't have to be anybody that you're friends with.
okay. Well, depends on the day of the week.
Yeah, see, you're
Of
like
course,
me.
Ravenscroft is my all-time favorite.
Who-
Yeah, Ravenscroft's pretty good.
No, I gotta ask you, are you, when it comes to music, do you consider yourself eclectic, or are you one of those people that follows a specific genre?
I'm more eclectic. I listen to some pretty off the wall stuff. Although, metal's my favorite, and I have to say that at the moment, System of a Down is probably one of my favorites. I'll always love Metallica. I don't like their new stuff so much, but I'll always love Metallica. Disturbed, I love that style. Typo. Oh wait, I was only supposed to say 3.
Typo Negative. Don't forget about that.
Negative is
I'm not gonna lie, you remind me of a Typo Negative type of girl, the fan. You know what I mean? You're like, it's just like the minute I look at you, I'm thinking, she probably likes Typo Negative. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, it just they embody that culture so much. You know what I mean? And I'm a big fan, so I remember for the first time I saw that one of their music videos, I was like, yes, I get it. Yeah.
I just want to say one thing to the metal community and goth community out there. Belly dancing works with it.
There you go. Get more belly dancing with metal.
Yes,
Okay.
and fire. Come on, if Corey Taylor does it with the cherry bomb.
That's true.
Hello.
That's true. So you heard it.
I auditioned them.
Did you really?
Yeah. No, obviously I didn't make it, or I'd be touring with them. But
What was that experience like,
but
though?
I have to say, it was awesome. It was awesome, and I'm telling you, those girls,
Real deal.
they're tough. They're tough. Yeah, I'm telling you. When I had a blast at the audition. I will say that I was definitely the oldest person there. But when I got home, I had bruises on my knees and elbows that you wouldn't believe. But those girls are hardcore. That shit they do is not easy. All the respect, man. All the respect. Aspirations for sure.
Nice.
I love those girls.
Cool.
Right on.
But yeah, see, guys, if you're in a metal band and a goth band, you need some little added entertainment. We're out there.
Look it up. Look it up. There's this. How do you pronounce it? Stygian Collective.
Stygian. Yeah.
All right, people. You heard her. You heard me. You heard Ralph. Go support Sherise. Go support the Stygian Collective. Go check out Gothik Doll.
Yes.
And don't forget belly dancing and metal. Let's start it up more.
Hell yeah.
Sherise, thank you so much for joining us. David, I see you back there.
See you, boys.
Stop messing around pretending you're cleaning because we know you're not.
Sherise, thank you so much.
Thank you. Had a blast, you guys. You guys rock. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for
We had a
having
great
Check
time
out
too.
Sherise, you guys. She's got an Instagram, so check her out and follow her and subscribe to her YouTube channel. The metal community is growing and things are about to get hot. So stick around. A lot's happened.
A lot's happened since fucking yesterday. Take care of each other. Support art. Be good people. Join the Facebook channel. Support everything you can. Check out the links in the below. Subscribe, like, share. All of the points, it's going to go somewhere. Just go look around. It's there. Until next time, take care of yourself. Peace.